time is upon us. We've heard his bellows from afar. Can you hear him? He's approaching. And what say you? Is that you? Hello there! The fog separates and he appears from the shadows. He transforms before our very eyes and walks upon the earth. He is the Crow.
Yep, that's right. We are experiencing the joys of technological fun. Welcome to another episode of now the show called Eat Crow, and I believe that our tagline is going to be open wide. That's what I'm saying anyway. Yeah. All right, we're going to pause that for a moment. It's going to be a very special show. Special like Jerry's Kids. In the studio with me is a longtime friend and compatriot and has been on the previous incarnation. This is Mr. Regent St. Clair.
I am he.
That's true. And then actually Skyping in from the UK, the one, the only Mr. Kelv Hellraiser. Kelv, can you hear us okay?
Yeah, how you doing, guys?
Awesome. Yeah, this is so bizarre. All right, so we are on a little bit of a limited time schedule because, well, Regent has someplace to be, whatever. But you guys actually, Cal, you and I have actually never met face to face.
That's correct. Yeah, we have never met.
But and you know what? Let's keep it that way. No, I'm kidding.
It's like the dating game.
Right.
We've never met.
Bachelor number one. What kind of music do you listen to, and who's wearing more women's clothing? Anyway, but you guys actually met years ago. Well, let's get into a little bit of history on you, Calvin. I know that you've got a long-standing sort of music industry background. One of the main things, you were a writer for Kerrang! Magazine, as I recall.
Metal Forces. Everybody
Metal
says
Forces.
Kerrang! That was the big magazine.
Right.
Metal Forces was the underground, real music magazine. Kerrang! Was just a bunch of bandwagon jumpers.
Gotcha. Tell us what you really think.
No, what you call now ambulance chasers.
You're right, okay.
And Metal Forces was the real, them guys are into Metallica. I was the underground glam and AOR stuff. Bernard Doe was and Dave Constable was Metallica, Slayer, everything. Every good band, either one of us had a part in it that came out mid-'80s and early 80s up until the end of the 80s.
Mm-hmm. And then it all went to shit.
Yeah, music died in Nirvana killed it, yeah.
Which I always thought it was interesting because, yeah, to an extent, Nirvana killed a lot of great music, and then Kurt Cobain killed himself. And was that, I mean, how perfectly ironic was that?
Yeah, and
that was the plan.
Grunge died a horrific death.
I think that was the plan.
Yeah.
Even more so than the old 80s hard rock. Because those bands can play gigs now.
Right.
There's like nothing left of that grunge scene at all. Nothing.
Pearl Jam is still out there.
Yeah. But one band.
Yeah.
Jeez.
No, I mean,
the only thing that's done great out of is Dave Grohl,
Yeah, exactly, right?
True.
He's gone on to own the world, but everything else has been look at Alice in Chains.
Right.
I mean, they're back, but a little not the original singer and the original guys.
Yeah, right now they sound more like Alice and Lace than not the Chains are not.
I'm not
really
a big fan of Alice in Chains. They're not a bunch of ambulance chasers. They were a glam band. I don't like glam bands that go grunge.
Right.
Or go hippie. Pantera, there's another one. They were a great glam band and also a great heavy band, I suppose. Musically, they were a great glam band. They didn't quite have the look, I don't think.
I don't think I could ever imagine. I've never seen a picture of Dimebag, looking glammy, and I don't know.
But he
how
looked
that
the same, but with makeup.
Oh,
you
God.
know what, Kelv, you know what that brings to mind? A video I once saw of Wizard. See, Kelv, you're going to get that, right?
Makeup.
You're going to get that. They had facial, they had beards,
but then now
and lots of
hip.
makeup.
Look, Rob Zombie and all that.
Right. No, but that's different. Rob Zombie's more like he fell down in a mud puddle and hit his face.
Yeah, that's true.
But like Wizard, they were all done up like, like floozies.
Brett
like,
Michaels got stubble now, stubble and makeup.
Yeah, except his stubble is that's the part from where he's losing his hair up on top. Why he always has that fucking headband on. It's coming out the front.
I'm not commenting on that.
Do you guys know the story about why he wears that headband?
Well, I just took it for granted.
I know everything about Brett Michaels. Absolutely, penis size. Everything.
Well, cool. We can
It's
talk.
pretty big.
Well, that's.
I now know you better than I ever wanted to know you, Kel.
No, I should do his autobiography, the real one.
Another book I will not read.
Okay, yeah, go on. Tell me what you think you know about his hair.
Oh, I just bad implants was what I'd heard is that he was like he was balding and he went and he got plugs and it plugs gone bad is what that was, and so it looks bad. So I mean, I think there was something where he was actually in the hospital and he still wouldn't let them take the headband off of him.
Well,
yeah, I know
you
about that.
One of the
thing is, if he had a
orderlies
full
might-
head of hair, he wouldn't wear a headband all
Right.
the time. But I don't know what he's got. Nobody knows. No one's seen him without it for years.
I think it's been
To
surgically
be honest, he's
attached.
made such an issue of it covering it up that I don't think anybody would have ever asked if he had just taken it off and had whatever he's got on there.
Right.
It wouldn't have looked real, but no one would have said anything. I don't think.
I
might look
would have.
thicker than his original hair, but he's getting bad advice from the people around him, that's for sure.
Shocking, frankly.
So the two of you met years ago over across the pond, as they say.
Yeah, Shades Records. He came over with Bill Burkhardt from Record Exchange,
Yes.
Walnut Creek.
Yes, that's correct. Good memory. Jeez.
No, give me a minute, I'll get the address and the phone number. Bill's personal home line, his wife's name.
All I could tell you is it was on North Main Street. But, God, you got a good
I
memory.
never knew that stuff, otherwise I'd be telling you it.
My God.
So how? I mean, and at the time, the band was Castle Black. And Kelv, how did you ever hear Castle Black? How'd that happen?
Okay, Bill bought a tape first. He said it's a glam band.
Mm-hmm.
So I hyped up Regent as the next San Francisco's answer to Kerry Doll.
Okay.
I mean, it looks quite a lot different when I seen him, but
Perhaps you might have wanted to wait on that description until you met me.
yeah. And he looked a bit different. But he had hair extensions when I met him, and he looked the part, you know. And I met Kev Chives. He came
Right.
with him. It was I thought
Do you-
Kev Mueller. That's it. Kev Chives.
Mueller, by the way, just let me interject. I don't know if you know this or not, but Kev Mueller has been for many years a producer on the CBS television program The Amazing Race. Are you familiar with that show? It's
There's too many
huge.
American shows. I can't keep up.
It's been on for I think 10 years. It's
Yeah, it's a
huge.
huge
on
reality
it's
show.
CBS. It's one of the. It was back when there only was Survivor and The Amazing Race. There was
Right.
only those two shows like that. He's been a
So
producer.
he still works on it.
Oh yeah, totally. Right now, he's full blown producer on
Wow.
that show. Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that. There you go.
It's his
so anyway,
life.
Bill gave me a tape. Then I think Bill brought Regent and Kev over. I still have the pictures of us in a hotel somewhere.
Oh,
wherever that
forward
was.
those, please.
They're not those kinds of pictures.
Regardless,
No,
I want to
don't
see them
know. They're
anyway.
pretty lame.
They're not those kind of pictures.
That'd be a great thing.
I'm standing on a box next to Regent.
That'd be a great thing. Here's what rock and roll really looks like.
Oh God.
So clearly, we're all sort of fans of the genre of glam. Who's everybody's favorite glam band of all time, other than ones we've played in?
What do you think, Kel?
Ruby Slippers is mine, obviously.
There you go. A classic.
But not everybody likes them.
Yeah,
they're
no,
not
it's-
really heavy metal glam.
No, I mean they're boy, you can listen to them and get a cavity. They're that sugary.
I'm glad they didn't get big because I wouldn't like the music anymore if they'd have got big. In terms of that, I'm not glad they didn't get big because they didn't get any money. But
Well-
I mean, to me, the music still sounds, because I don't hear it that much, and I just play it when I want to hear it. Whereas Poison just got overplayed,
Right.
But unfortunately, the same songs, which is the hits,
Right.
not the songs that I actually like. A lot of theirs, they don't get played that much.
Well, can I just say one thing? Tell me if you agree with me on this. With me on this, on Kel. The sort of trend nowadays with bands who are making music that are newer bands, it's all about the song. They don't even necessarily make an album or a CD. They just make a song, because that's the focus now. And I don't know about you, but some of my favorite songs by some of my favorite bands were album tracks that were never singles.
Yeah. Oh,
And-
yeah, of course.
And
yeah.
I saw Prince a clip of Prince recently on Arsenio Hall show, and
Yeah,
Prince
I saw that.
Prince. You see, when he was talking about like putting the songs together to make an album, and how they, he won't release a CD until he's got, like the 10 songs put together the right way and the whole thing. And he was talking about that, and it really made sense to me because I mean, to me, it's all about the whole thing, the whole group of songs. Do you
Yeah.
real that way?
To be honest, Prince is the only rock star left. He is. He's still like, he's got the mystique, he's got
Sure.
the look, he's got music, he's the real package. He cares about the fans. Everyone else has just kind of died off.
Yeah.
Really.
Yeah.
And they follow fashion and move along with everything else. Prince just does his own thing and doesn't care,
True.
True.
But
I mean, it has changed a hell of a lot. I was speaking to Sally Cato from the band Smash Gladys today.
oh wow,
and
is she still doing music?
She was kind of saying how great it is now. The artists are fighting back. The record companies are all gone.
right.
And they're all, everything they earn. I don't necessarily totally agree that, still you're still going to get shafted with the internet.
Mm-hmm. That's what
But
Prince,
I mean,
Prince
you're
was saying
more in
that too,
control
yeah.
of your career, but unfortunately, you will not have a long career now. Now it's just about nostalgia if you're an old band. You're not going to get chart success in Ruby Slippers or Castle
But wait a
Black
minute,
or-
is there a chart?
Yeah, right.
I wasn't aware there was
they
a
don't
chart
have
anymore.
singles anymore.
I mean, why does Billboard even? Does Billboard still exist? And if so, why?
No, it
I guess
exists.
it does.
It's 3 pages long.
All
Yes,
ads.
No,
I
and
look
2
it
of
up
it
to
is
see
ads.
where Brett Michaels' albums get to. It does still exist.
I didn't even know that because since there's no more record stores anymore, I wonder where you would ever even pick up a copy of Billboard if it existed.
I
didn't
don't
even
know. Newsstands. There's that famous newsstand in L. Well, there must be a few newsstands in L.A. We used to pick up all the magazines and stuff.
Used to be, but those are kind of gone too.
Yeah.
Oh, everything's gone. Tower Records. I can't believe that's gone.
Yeah, everything's gone, man.
We
And
have
also,
no record stores here. None.
We had,
We got probably a handful in the whole country.
I mean, there are some mom and pop record stores left, and there's of course Amoeba.
Yeah, there's Amoeba.
which is
Oh,
like an
that's the
airplane
original.
hanger.
What's
It's
Rockaway
huge.
Records still going? I remember that
I
one.
think
Yep,
it is.
that one's still there, and there's,
Yeah.
in fact, I actually sold a bunch of my records to Rockaway when I'm.
But isn't it
Is
interesting?
do you know Aaron's on Melrose? Is that gone?
I think
I
Aaron's
think
is
that's
gone.
Aaron's is gone.
Wow, that was a stalwart of a store. That was an amazing store.
Yeah, but see, the
And
only
Melrose
stores
had about 3 stores altogether. Record Traders and
right,
all
but
these
no
ones.
more. There's no more record stores on Melrose.
That's a shame, isn't it?
So let's do this. We've been talking about glam music. Let's play a Ruby Slippers track so that at least we can enjoy it. Although in fact, Kelv, I was chatting with you the other day. I have a bit of a personal bias against some of those guys, and we can talk about that later. Because some people who were in that band are fucking dicks. But hey, they made some decent music. So we're going to do, this is a track, this is one of the later versions of the band with Nigel Itzen singing. He
Yep.
had been the drummer. And this is a track called Hollywood Suicide, which I think describes most careers that have happened in Hollywood. So how perfect is that? So everybody sit back, stay tuned, enjoy this. Again, Ruby Slippers, Hollywood Suicide. I think this is a demo.
Dice.
And that was Ruby Slippers with Hollywood Suicide. Thoughts?
Still sounds great to me.
So, what do you guys think it is about sort of the glam scene, the glam style of music that? I mean, I know that for myself, I always liked that there was a heaviness to it, there was a trashiness to it, but there was still a great pop sensibility to it, and that is, I think, what set it apart as compared to, say, like thrash or just, a lot of other kinds of sort of heavier rock music. What is it about glam that and of course the image and, wearing shoes like that. What is it that you guys liked about it?
I don't know. I grew up on the Sweet,
right,
and it just kind of went crazier. Sweet was more musical than any of the glam bands from LA, that's for sure.
Agreed.
Yeah.
But and all of the bands back then, Slade and all the British bands, T-Rex, Wizard, and those guys, they were music first, the image got added. Whereas I think the LA bands was image first, and then let's do the music.
Right,
that's true. You're right.
No,
not to say that they were crap or anything, but some were, definitely.
Yes, some were.
But no, you're
Looking
right.
back, you can see the mistakes that were made, definitely.
Yeah.
2 record companies, stupid, signing every band.
Yeah.
It was a mistake.
Exactly. I mean, and what sort of like a weird attempt at a power grab. It's like, let's just grab all of them. Some of them will hit, some of them won't. We'll eventually make money. And
then LA's dried up. Let's go Tennessee and get 3 blonde guys. What are they called? I forgot their name. But they weren't very good. The music was weak.
Was it Nelson? Were you thinking of?
No, not Nelson.
Yeah.
That's 2 blonde guys.
Yeah.
4 blonde guys. What were they called? I forgot their name.
Four blonde guys.
They
That
were
was the
out
name of the
like
band,
Tennessee.
I don't know.
And they had 2 albums, and they were just weak. At the time, I probably said they were great. But
So is are any bands from those eras that, like, there was a time where you're going, God, these guys are great, and you went back and listened and went, no, these guys were not.
I don't know. Because to be honest, I'm not sure if I was. Although I was listening to that kind of music, I was also listening to other kinds of music at the same time. Because I worked in that record store, and to be honest, hearing that all day, you want to get away from it. You know?
Sure.
So I was listening. So now I hear it, and it sounds like new because I stopped playing it for a while. But there's the bands I'm talking about, not Lord Tracy so much, bands like that. Mm-hmm. Every Mother's Nightmare. That's it. Skid Row, fake.
Right,
Skid Row.
right. I remember.
Maybe Skid Row's not as good as I thought they were. I'm not sure.
Yeah,
I like Sebastian.
Yeah, no, that guy, he definitely a lot of attitude, great singer. But
I think the first album was really cool, American hard rock, but the others sounded more like Iron Maiden after that.
Right. And of course,
and they kind of were a bit confused. But Sebastian seemed like a hired gun. He never got on with them.
Yeah, no, in fact,
weird.
Yeah, no, I mean, since I know that there's still a rift between them, and he's off doing what he's doing, and they're sort of like doing Skid Row light with a different singer, and then they talk about reuniting.
Is his name Solinger? Johnny Solinger or something?
No,
but, I mean,
no
Sebastian's by himself doing whatever he does.
Talking a lot.
Yeah.
But, I totally agree with you, Kelv. I think for our generation, you and me, I think it goes back to Sweet. I think Sweet is the starting point for all of us because we were kids, and I think that when the Raspberries came out with Go All the Way, which
you guys had different stuff.
A lot of people would say that's the starting point is when the Raspberries came out with Go All the Way. I was really young when that came out, but when Sweet came out with Action, even with Little Willie and stuff, that Willie was the first charting single they ever had in America. And then it's, Fox on the Run and Ballroom Blitz and all this stuff. And as a little kid, I'm going, this is weird. This is pop music on the AM radio, but it's really tough. The guitars are tough, and the singer is really just kicking it in the head. And I go, I've never heard pop music that was tough like this before.
Yeah, I remember the first time hearing Ballroom Blitz on the radio and just going, what was that, and where do I get more of it?
I mean, I can remember being 12 years old in 6th grade, and I was on the basketball team at my school, and we were going to – my coach was taking us to a basketball game to see the Warriors, and we're all like 20 kids piled into a station wagon, and he's blasting the AM radio, and it's like sweet on the radio, and we're just like completely rocking out. And I'm just going, how come like pop music isn't like this? Why isn't all pop music like this? Why is it like, Olivia Newton-John and Helen Reddy and, the Carpenters, which, by the way, I love all of them, and I've stolen mercilessly from all of them. Yeah, totally. But I go, there needs to be
back
more
then,
stuff
the
like
value of a single to a person was just incredible. Just one song.
Sure.
You didn't even need an album. You need one song. You play it again, again. Yeah, that feeling, I don't know if that's just when you're young, but it just never comes back from that first time.
Well,
now an album means nothing. So,
Right, exactly.
I'd get a single and play it to death, hundreds, and a B-side, hundreds of songs. I'd get one album, it'd last 6 months, a year.
Yeah. Totally.
Now
you wear that thing out.
A day off the internet, or more if you want.
Yeah, I mean, you can you can get bootlegs, you can get rehearsal perform. I mean, it's like.
No, I was just telling Brian before we got on the air today, and I don't know if you know this or not, Kel, but for some time now, there's a website that's a big website that sells ringtones. Okay, and a long time ago, I discovered you can buy a ringtone of my song "Fuck Off, I Don't Want to Dance." I didn't know you could buy that ringtone, but I'm like, where did they even get that? This is years ago. This was available. It made me think, where did they even get this to make this ringtone? But okay.
You know what? I think since you've mentioned it, I think we need to play "Fuck Off, I Don't Want to Dance." I think it deserves some airplay. So we're gonna slide into that track and come back and chat more. We've got Mr. Regent St. Clair in the studio and Skyping in from the UK, Mr. Kelv Hellraiser, right here on Eat Crow, which is not just a suggestion, a demand. This is "Fuck Off, I Don't Want to Dance."
Let me get my nose. Fuck off, I don't wanna dance. Fuck off, I don't wanna dance. Fuck off, I don't wanna dance with you, baby. Fuck off, I don't wanna dance. Fuck off.
So there's that.
That was "Fuck Off, I Don't Want to Dance," which is the song that I listened to going into my last divorce. So,
That was Regent singing, wasn't it?
That
right.
was me singing. Listen,
How come I've never heard that song before?
well, that's a Monster Island song. Do you have the Bastard Sons of Babylon tape with like 13, 14 songs?
yeah, I guess I must have heard it then.
Well,
Oops.
you've got the box set, don't you?
Yeah.
Well, you should.
No,
you should, check it out.
Yeah, I have got the box there, yeah.
somewhere.
Listen, I want to bring something up to you guys. I only got a couple more minutes before I got to split, but I want to throw this out at you guys. You know, in 1980, God, 1 or 2, I'm trying to remember, 81 or 82, I was doing basically a power pop band back then. It was called Escort Service, and we were managed by Tony Isabella, who worked for Bill Graham Presents. At least she did eventually. Back then, she may have I think she was starting out with Bill Graham, and there was a club called the Old Waldorf.
Yeah.
And she
I've
was
heard of that.
really involved with that.
The Old Waldorf. Here's I actually one of my first jobs. I was actually a janitor at the Old
There you
Waldorf.
go.
Yeah,
Both good and bad.
yeah. No,
But-
man. That's like in high school taking the bus. I wanted to be involved in the scene so bad. I was willing to like do that.
I hear you. It's good times.
Yeah.
Those were good times. A lot of big bands I saw there when they were very little. I saw Metallica play there, like within the first 6 months of their existence and everything. But anyway, so Tony said to my band, who she was kind of managing, "Look, I want you guys to come down tonight to see this band. I'll put you on the list, the whole band. You guys have to see this band. They have to be seen to be believed. They're a new band. They've done their own record. It's an independent thing. They're called Motley Crue. You guys have got to see this band. They're unbelievable." So my band went down there. And in my band in Escort Service, I was the drummer, but I was also the principal songwriter. And we all went down to see this band, and they were so funny. They were really funny. Like, Tommy just spent most of the time turning around, pulling his pants down, showing us his ass. And Nicky's pants were ripped up the middle, so his dick and nuts kept falling out. He would move his bass around, and there's his nuts. And and Vince was doing everything he could to stay standing up near the mic. And they were really like a punk band. They were really like a lot of punk bands I used to play with back in the punk scene. They were heavy and the music was kind of heavy, but really the feeling was like they were a punk band. And Mick was over there basically looking like, "I'm going to eat your fucking heart," And he's never changed. He's still that same unhappy, unpleasant looking guy. He's probably a pretty mellow guy. So we watched the show, and then they came back for their encore, and they did Department of Youth by Alice Cooper. And that night changed my life. I just go, if you can do hard music with that kind of punky attitude, well, then I can do this. I would be willing to do this. Mm-hmm. And I quit my band immediately. And I bought a guitar, and I learned how to play. And within 3 months, I put Castle Black together.
Wow.
And because I thought you can do music that's fun and still tough. And I think it was, without knowing it, I was hearkening back to the Sweet Thing, trying to do something like that.
Yeah.
And it's interesting to me because just a couple weeks ago, I read a long interview with Nicky, and he was saying, and I'd never heard him say it, the same thing, that they approached it like a lot of the punk bands, the DIY kind of we're just going to make a freaking record.
Right.
Somebody's got a couple grand, we're just going to make a record, and throw it out there, and who cares, really? And they didn't live anywhere, it was they didn't have a pot to piss in. They're just it was just very off the cuff, very, he talks, in years afterward, he would talk like it was the master plan.
Right.
He had the master plan, but I'm telling you, back in those days, there was no master plan.
Yeah, no, George Lucas only planned on making one Star
Yeah, exactly.
Wars, okay?
But I think that was, and that really moved me, just to see this band coming out with they were more nutty than they were.
Yeah. But if you
scary.
look back at it and look at that album cover,
Yeah.
and at the time it came out, they should have taken over the world instantly with
Well,
that look alone.
they did eventually.
It's nobody looked like that, but it took them a while.
Yeah, a little, but their rise was pretty fast. Between that show that I saw and them opening for Kiss on tour was a year, and then the next thing you know, they're headlining,
Right.
and the album was picked up by Elektra and what have you. But the thing was that it changed my life to see them and see you can do music like that. It really, let's face it, when Crew started out, they were kind of a hard pop band.
Right.
You know?
No, you go back and listen to that first record. I mean, it's miles away from Dr. Feelgood, and it's certainly much more, like Sweet, like, just total, yeah.
Nicky Sixx is a big Sweet fan. I know he used to talk. He don't mention them now, but he did in the early days.
That's cool. It's cool that he would say where it came from. I've never been shy about saying where my stuff
I wrote
comes
to him when that first album came out. He never replied.
Shocking.
I said I
frankly.
can do you some Sweet demos and B-sides, and he didn't reply. So he wasn't that big a fan.
Well, to be fair, I mean, who knows if any mail would ever get to him? It's like one day
that's true.
day he lives in that gutter, the next day he lives in that gutter, the next day he lives in that bathroom.
The thing that was very disappointing about Motley Crue was Vince Neil's voice. He just could not reproduce what he sang on them records.
Yeah,
That's
Not even close.
Yeah. I know.
that's very true. But how true is that? How many bands do you check out and it's like, well,
He's right. Put it like he's attempting to be Rick Emmett out of Triumph.
no,
and
but
he's
Rick
playing
Emmett
it really
can
bad.
hit those notes though.
yeah,
I
Yeah,
think.
Rick Emmett's fantastic.
He can really
you know?
hit the notes. But, the thing is, here's what's weird about that, and I totally agree with you, and I think a lot of people would agree with what you just said about his singing and his voice. However, remember when he was not in Crew for a little while? For like 10 seconds?
Yeah, that was great.
And they brought
That was better than
John
Motley-
Corabi
To be
in
honest,
there?
his solo stuff is better than Motley Crue.
Well, yeah, but they brought Corabi in there, who is a much better singer, technically.
Oh hell, yeah.
And then, but
Well, I
you know
didn't
what?
like it.
Yeah, but see, nobody liked it.
see, I don't remember much of the rest of the record, but I always thought that the song "Hooligan's Holiday," one of my favorite Crew songs. That song is fucking awesome.
Mm-hmm. No, there's a lot of good stuff. I don't fault them for it. And, so here we all are. You, me, Brian, all these people. God, Vince can't sing, man. Vince just can't sing. And then you got to get somebody else. And they get somebody else, and we all go, you need to get Vince back.
But, yeah, he's a star.
Because you know what?
He's got
because
something,
it-
just
it-
like Bret Michaels has,
It works.
Otherwise, he wouldn't have done as well as he had. He's got something.
No, but the four of them together is
Yeah,
something
it's a show.
special. I mean, you can even say the same thing. I would easily say the same thing about Kiss. Look, Ace Frehley is not a great lead guitar player, okay? And Peter Criss is not a great drummer. Gene does some good stuff on the bass, but really, Ace and Peter, they're not great at what they do. And you've got Tommy and Eric in the band now, and they just nail it note for note every night, and that's fine. Okay,
But it's not
fine.
Ace and Peter.
It's fine. But when I saw them for the first gig unannounced, when they did the reunion tour, and it was at a weenie roast at the KRQR weenie roast,
Right.
and I'm telling you, when I got to that show, and we had like 8th row or something, the crowd was full of rock stars. I mean, you couldn't like turn around without bumping into like Michael Anthony or Sebastian Bach or some other huge rock star. We're all there because we want to see the four guys back together again. And I'm telling you, I was so close to the stage. Gene spent most of the show giving Ace the "you better not fuck this up" look. And Ace is just looking back at him going, "Hey, come lighten up, man." And Gene's going, "Do not fuck this up."
Chill out, Carly.
Yeah, totally. And then of course the fireworks tipped over and shot into the crowd.
Oh God.
To which
Wow.
Paul said, "I don't think that's supposed to do that." And everybody around us ran away because the seats are burning. But me and my friends are all, "No, we're staying right the fuck here." And they're going, get out, it's on fire, it's going to burn. No, we'll stay right here. But no, the whole show, Gene was just like, just waiting for Ace to do some stupid fucking thing. But he did fine. But, that's the thing is, I would rather, and I bet you guys would agree, I would rather see Kiss with the four original guys, even though Peter and Ace suck, kind of not great, let's just say it nice. They're not great musicians. I'd still rather see that chemistry happening on stage than Gene and Paul and two guys playing perfectly.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen the recent incarnation, and the show's great. The lights, I mean, everything. It's great, but there's something fake about it. There's just something. The chemistry is not there, and even when you've got, it's like Tommy Thayer, at least the show. I mean, he was like literally relegated to like stay in this little corner of the stage and don't you dare come out of it. I've seen some stuff and it looks like that's been somewhat
Established.
yeah, but it was like you're going. That was good, but it was.
No, he does a fine job,
Yeah.
and Eric does a fine job. They're fine, but on top of that, you've got Gene. I don't know when the last time you saw Kiss play, but when I took Max, when I took my son, he was 8, and we were really close to the stage in front of Gene, and Gene kept making this funny face all throughout the concert, like. I'll do it for Brian right now because I don't know how to describe Brian. I'll do it. You describe it to Kelv. Ready?
All right.
Okay, like this.
It's like he's got really dry lips, or like kind of the face that an old guy makes when he doesn't have his teeth
dentures in.
Yeah,
that's what he kept doing.
Oh, I know that face. Yeah.
He kept going up and looking at us and moved like he's an old man with no dentures in.
Yeah, I know.
And at first it was kind of
yeah.
funny, but then it occurred to me like, wow, this is really sad. I mean, it's funny because when Marilyn Manson now gets up on stage and puts his arms out and does the wagging his arm thing like on the cross, and he's making fun of himself now. That's okay with me, but for some reason, Gene going, look at me, I'm an old man. I just felt really sorry for him.
Yeah. I'd like to actually see them have a farewell tour and not the continuing one. I love the band, and I got into music because of them, but it's wearing thin.
Well, it needs to stop now, and I'm sure, Kelv, I'm sure you know what's been going on with the whole Rock and Roll
Hall of Fame thing.
How they said we'd like the band to perform with the original members, and Gene and Paul said absolutely not. And I don't know if you guys have read any of the books, the ones by Gene or the one by Ace or
I've
Peters.
got Peter Chris's. I got that.
Did you read
about
Peter's
Ace
book?
Frehley's as well.
But I've read them all.
I haven't read Gene. Has Paul got a book?
Well, Paul
Paul
just brought a copy of the book over to Gene's house the other day. I read, and Gene said, "You want to hang out?" And Paul's like, "No."
Do Paul and Gene even get on?
Yeah, because Paul is Gene's only friend. You realize that, right? Gene doesn't have any friends. None except Paul, and Paul's like a kind of a regular guy, and Paul has friends and kids and a wife, and he's pretty much a regular guy. But Gene, all he has are people that can either do something for him or have done something for him, and so he has no genuine friends. But reading all those books, I don't know. You said you read Peter's book recently, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
In bits and parts.
It's it's interesting.
I actually worked for Peter Chris's record company for a while.
Oh, wow.
In not his company, the company he was on was called TNT Records. They signed Joey C. Jones at Sweet Savage.
Okay.
A couple of guys that have an LA band, Wildside, their second album. But he was slagging the company off.
Right.
And saying, I went to there and had thousands of boxes of my CDs there. And they said, yeah, we're getting on it. And he said it wasn't, nothing happened.
Well,
but nothing was happening with anybody in the middle of the 90s.
Well, the thing is when he's not in Kiss anymore, it's not like Ace. Ace actually had a career beyond Kiss. And after
he
Kiss.
made a band and he did something with it.
But unfortunately for Peter, he just sort of didn't. And the music that he was making just was not that good. A lot of the stuff Ace made after Kiss was kind of good.
Uh-huh.
But Peter's, it just wasn't enough like Kiss to carry him, But the thing I'm saying is that in Peter's book and in Ace's book too, it's weird because they totally are not, they don't shy away from saying, yeah, I did that stupid shit. I completely did it. I totally, I gave the gun to the baby. I totally did that. I did it every fucking day of my life. And that was bad, but I did that. And so the thing is when you hear Gene and Paul saying, no, we're not going to do that. I totally get it. I totally understand. Sometimes there's just so much bad. I mean, like the stories about when they're playing like rock in Brazil or something before like 1 billion people, and they're about to go on in 5 minutes, and Gene gets a call from Ace going, "Hey, I didn't get on the plane."
Right.
Hey, isn't that funny? No, you know what? That's really not very funny, Ace. Yeah, you're a fucking idiot. So get the roadie into the makeup, And it's like, how many times does that stuff have to happen where you go, I'm not going to do this anymore with you? And I totally get it. I mean, they're going to be inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, and that's great. And they should be. But Ace and Peter are kind of bent out of shape about the fact that they can't go accept it with them.
But Journey was in there. They had everybody. You know,
Well, it's true. No, I mean,
original
Journey-
guy on rhythm guitar, Robert Fleischman, who was in it.
Right.
Really,
And that's what they should have done with Kiss.
Yeah,
they should
and
have done that.
I mean, they did the same thing with the Grateful Dead. Wasn't there like 28
Yeah.
people up on stage or
Yeah.
something? Yeah, they should have just figured something out, get everybody up there. They
Steve
all had
Perry gets on a lot worse with the rest of Journey than Gene and Peter
do you,
Criss.
no,
Right.
but no, do you
and,
really think
and
that?
Ace Frehley get on with the other two guys.
Do you really believe that
they don't
that
talk
Perry
or
gets
anything?
on? Well, yeah, but don't talk or anything. The stuff with Ace and Peter and Gene and Paul, that's beyond don't talk.
It's like, don't
That's
get
like
fucking near me.
No, that's like I'm going to come to your house and fucking hit you on the head with a fucking
Well,
barbell.
they said they were never friends. Well, I can't believe
Well,
that.
you know what? I
don't buy that.
Look, in the books, the way they all paint it was that in the early days, in the first,
Didn't Peter Criss form the band with them?
well,
It was. I mean, I always thought it was Gene and Paul. Then Peter came in, and then like
Ace,
the last
I think-
edition was
yeah.
Ace, and he came in and was sort of like, oh, there it is.
when they were young and they were hungry, and it was the shitty old days. There was clearly some camaraderie, and there clearly was some like, hey, let's do this, and we're going to make
Hey,
it.
kids,
and
let's put on a show.
My dad has a barn, let's put on a show. That kind of attitude, it was there. It certainly was. But, from those books, it does tell like how unpleasant it was to be touring in those days with those guys. How like Gene like never, ever, like he, instead of after a show, taking a shower and putting on your regular clothes, he wouldn't shower or change his clothes.
Yeah, I read that. That was in Peter
Right.
Criss's book.
Yeah, and how like nasty that was. How really and how Peter had initially he was initially sharing a room with Gene, but Peter's like, I can't share a room with Gene. So he switched, I guess, and then I'm not sure who shared with Gene. I think it was Ace. But Ace was so completely bombed out of his mind all the time.
It didn't matter.
It didn't matter. But
Yeah.
those were the fun days. Those were like the hey, let's we can do a show, that kind of stuff, and it was fun. But I think the way that they all portrayed it is that once there started to be money involved, like real big money and real
Yeah,
big fame,
that's when they started
everything went to
lording
hell.
over the other two.
Yeah, then it became Gene and Paul against Ace and Peter.
So real quick, because we're running a little short on time, I would like to play a couple more tracks, but I do have a question. Anybody like anybody new musically out there? You guys hearing anything that you go, wow, this is actually really fucking good?
Well, I'll say somebody. I know you guys are gonna kill me. Okay, I'm getting ready. You guys are gonna hear the knives unsheathing. Me and my son, we both love Skrillex. We like Skrill a lot, and mostly because
I am no longer
mostly
your friend.
because a mutual friend of mine and Brian's, who's worked with my band before, named Lee Roderick, who's actually going to be directing a video for us really soon. He turned me on to a video by Skrill a couple years ago for, I think it's called First of the Year. And it's a really cool video about a child molester who follows a little girl into an abandoned building, thinking that he's going to basically have his way with her, little girl. But the little girl, turns out, has access to a monster who she turns onto the guy, and the monster completely annihilates the guy. And that really, I thought that was really cool. And
That
so I
sounds like
listened
a
to,
great video. It'd be better if it had other music
I know,
on it.
other than like video game music. But the thing
That
is,
sounds like Candy Apple Black.
Right.
right?
There you go.
It's exactly.
It does. But in any case, I opened our eyes to it, and I like it a lot. I think it's a lot of fun. I don't think it's amazing, great music, but I think it's a lot of fun. That's what I have to say about that.
I can't think of any. There's some okay music out there, and there's some resurgence of new stuff, of old stuff that's doing. But I can't think of anything that is as good as back then.
Right.
There's certain artists, but I can't. I hear a song and I go, "That's good," but I can't, and then they're gone.
And Kelvin
You know.
goes, that's good.
I would say there's it's not even necessarily a band, it's more of a duo called Fantagram that I think is fucking great. And then I just heard yesterday, I heard a new band called Big Data. And
Okay.
heard them on
You guys are the new journalists. I don't know any of this.
This is just, I
I
mean,
mean,
this is
Metal Forces again.
let's
Is it hard rock or pop or what?
it's pop. I mean, actually, in terms of new hard rock, that's one of the things that I think that kills me the most is that most of the new hard rock stuff doesn't sound like new hard rock. It sounds like, oh, I've heard this before hard
it's
rock.
by numbers.
Yeah,
It's like,
and
it's like they've copied the look and
Yep.
they've got a certain songwriting style and it's not their own.
yeah, it just sounds like that is one of the best Metallica cover bands. Oh, wait, that's not a cover. I mean, Avenged Sevenfold sounds like Metallica by the numbers, like you say. It's like they sat down with the Black Album and a compass and a protractor and said, let's make this again. I mean, and there's just so many. I was DJing this show called Sunset Island Music that had stuff being sent from around the globe, literally. And I would hear stuff from all these other places. It sounded like the same shit that I've heard 100 times before. It was good, but it wasn't new. And I think that's what kills me about what's going on in hard rock right now. So a lot of the stuff that I'm hearing that I actually think sounds great.
But that's why you think it sounds great.
Is because
It sounds like the old stuff.
no, I mean like
Everybody listens to old stuff now, and that's it.
that's which is not necessarily a bad thing because our band is old stuff.
Well, no, it's funny. I'm a comedian in the car driving home after picking Max up, and a song will come on the radio on his station that he has on this in the car, and he'll look at me and go, "You like that, huh?" And I'll go, "Yeah. How did you know that?" He goes, "'Cause I know." Because it's got some guitars in it, and it's kind of hard. And it's kind of a little bit like.
How old is he now?
He's 11 now. He'll be 12 in June. So, but he can pick that stuff.
I got a son named Brett Michael. I wonder where I got that name from. And he's going to be 13 next. He's 12 at the moment.
What does he like? What are two bands he likes?
He doesn't register music.
Not at all.
He likes. I think he likes Linkin Park.
Well, there you go.
Okay.
Not a new band.
He knows who Brett Michaels is just about.
So wait a minute.
And he says he looks like you, me. He means. I said no, I look like him.
You haven't put a headband on him, have you?
I'm getting one right now.
All right, good.
Putting hair extensions in while we're doing the show.
Attaboy. Look, I got 2 seconds left before I got to walk out the door. But, Kelv, I got to finish that thought I was telling you about earlier. The guitarist who played on Babes in Toyland was David Chase. David Chase then changed his name to David Victor. And you know of David Victor and his solo stuff. He had a band called Velocity.
I didn't know that.
He had a band called Velocity. And
he's got solo albums. He's pretty good.
Okay. Well, here's the thing. Max was little. It must have been 8 or 9 years ago. Because he lives in L.A. And we had lunch together, and he said, "Listen, I'm thinking of doing a kind of a show type of a band based on 70s pop music, and I'm going to call it the Mystery Machine." After the van from Scooby-Doo, right?
Okay, yeah, I know.
And
what
he
that
was
is,
he wanted to do this thing. He said, "I want you to play drums in it." And I go, "Dude, I mean, like a 7 days a week job kind of a band." And I said, "Dude, I got the law firm thing. I got a kid. I can't be doing that kind of stuff." So he said, "I understand." And so he put together a little bit different kind of a thing called Bostyx, Bostyx, which I don't know if you know about this, Kel, but that's a kind of company. That's a company that makes office supplies in America. They make staplers and staple removers, but it's spelled Bostyx. And what they did is they do a tribute to Boston and Styx.
Wow.
They only do Boston and Styx music, but they do it really well. And so you see where I'm going with this story, because Tom Scholz became aware of Dave. And because
so he's singing.
He's
singing in Boston.
He's in Boston now, not the city, the band. Okay, my old lead guitar player is in the real Boston now because he did a Boston cover band.
See, I actually I have a plan. I want to do a Guns N' Roses tribute band and call it Chinese Democracy, and we get booked around the world, but we don't show up for 10 years.
Who was the guy in black who looked like Axl Rose at the end?
That was
Brian?
Dave. No, I think you're talking about
Dave Anthony.
Dave Anthony, our
drummer.
drummer Dave.
Yeah, drummer Dave.
And he's back in. I think he lives in
Delaware.
Georgia. No,
Georgia.
He lives
Now
in Georgia.
Yeah.
A lot like Axl.
Yeah, that looked going pretty good. Yeah, no, he was great. Dave was a sweet guy.
Yeah,
Very
sweet guy, great drummer.
He was very good.
Yeah,
way better too good for us. But but he was great. But I just how you find that amusing that our guitar player is now in Boston. It's kind of an odd leap, but he's definitely good enough. Dave was really, really good.
Yeah.
I mean, when we recorded Babes, that album, he showed up, and I was holding pieces of paper against the glass between the control room and the studio with a key in it, like A, E, D, A, B, E, A, and he's playing leads to that. And you hear it; it sounds great. That's how good he was back then. So he's really, really cool. I just thought you would find that amusing.
His solo albums. I don't know if he's had more than. I think he's had more than one, but
he's made lots of records under David.
He's
Velocity.
Good. He looks good as well.
Yeah, he is. Yeah, he takes care of himself. He's a professional dude.
So is he about 50?
I think he's a little bit older than me, and I just turned 50. So I think he might be 51 or something like that. But he looks good. He's good.
Yeah, he does.
You know, he takes care of
Better
himself.
living through chemistry.
Exactly. Anyways, listen, I hate to say this. Kelv, it's good to hear your voice, man.
Yeah,
I'll talk to you again
I'll
soon.
be back.
And
Well, you'll be back.
we'll be back. And I'm going to now
I'll be back.
I'm going to go sit in traffic for about an hour, okay?
Can I do that?
Nice to see you. And Brian, always a pleasure.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for being on the show. We've got about 5 minutes left, and I want to I quickly want to play a track by Shay Roxy, and then Calv, I want to chat for a moment, at least talk about your label and get some of that info out there. We're going to quickly, the title of the song, it came over as track 1, and it's so this
I track 1.
yeah, that's what it track 1.
Oh, great.
It's not I Got What You Want, so it's the other one.
Is it Angel?
I don't know.
No, it's
Well, you know what? By the time
Fistful of Heat. It's Fistful of Heat.
All right, this is Fistful of Heat, which sounds like something from
It's a Van Stevenson song. I don't know if you know who he is.
Oh, yeah. Modern day Delilah.
Yeah.
Totally.
Fistful of Heat sounds like a gay porn film. But
There you go.
ew.
Fistful of
He
Heat
says that-
from
he
the
says that
AOR
it-
Boulevard Records album,
AOR Boulevard.
1988.
There you go. So check this track out. We'll be back in just a moment.
All right.
Branded by the wisdom of a two-faced town, we'll be in wrong bitch, being out on the streets. My mama died young, left my old man with a son. He rocked my cradle with a kiss on the beach. In my eyes, you see a little bit of every love you've ever known. You're too big if you think you're gonna take me home. 'Cause I'm a fistful of heat, but in the danger zone. I'm a fistful of heat, but in the danger zone. I don't wanna live in a prison of stone. I'll take my chances on this ship and sail. If our future's uncertain, then so is your heart. No, we're never quite sure where we stand. In my eyes, I see a little bit of every lover you've ever known. You're tuned in fate if you think you're gonna take me home. 'Cause I'm a fistful of heat, but in the danger zone. I'm a fistful of heat, but in the danger zone. I'm a fistful of heat, but in the danger zone. Looking for some